the U.S. government takes a very different approach depending on the agency that is doing the engagement. So while with trade with USTR, since they handle it all, they are not really working closely, as David said, with industry. And that version of ITAC does not work well with industry. On the other hand, you contrast that with the approaches that the Department of Commerce is taking with self-regulation, where they have the industry in council and they come up, the industry itself comes up with different self-regulation rules. And then with other agencies are consulting with civil society, they're taking their viewpoints and they're accepting them or not accepting them. But the U.S. State Department, when it works on having discussions with other governments, has a totally different perspective. And they have an ITAC process as well, but they run it slightly differently. So they have their 3 official meetings of ITAC, and they appoint different stakeholders. So what they try to do on the ITAC is appoint different stakeholders to the ITAC process. And there's an application process, and they try to have a balanced ITAC ones. I'm on one of the ITAC processes, but there's also other different related committees, such as the ACI-CIP, which also works on international policy issues, and there's one that works on economic policies. And you have to apply yearly, and they have official meetings. But besides that purpose, in addition to those, they have smaller ITAC processes, which are then run for all the different, like for instance, if they're running creating policy positions for an ITU meeting, or a UNESCO meeting, or an OECD, or an APAC, or any other different fora where they're talking about and negotiating for the governments, they have smaller processes. And in these processes, the stakeholders are invaluable. And it depends on how much time you want to spend on an issue. So if you want to look at data localization and that coming up on an OECD meeting or an APAC, in the smaller meetings they'll ask you to, do you want to lead the panel? Do you want to create a white paper? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And there, civil society and other stakeholders can really take an active role in that. And these, what he was saying with the ITAC, that relates mostly of how it's closed to when it is delegation mode. A majority of the work that the State Department does in these preparatory meetings to prepare the state and the agencies for a position are what's called preparatory meetings. They are open to anyone as long as you're not a lobbyist. But they're all pretty well open to anyone, and any of the views there can be shared and feedback given to other civil society groups. So if you want to create a draft, you can share the draft of your whole group, so that if I2 Coalition or as Public Citizen as a particular internet issue they're looking at, they can be active on it, they can help write policy, help shape the strategy for the State Department. They can report back to their own communities. It's only when you go to delegation mode, and the State Department has taken very great pains to go as late as possible into this delegation mode, because they're very interested in seeking as broad as possible engagement from different stakeholders. And so they often try to delay the start as much as possible until it's absolutely necessary. Because once you're in the delegation mode, as David said, you can't share anything without others. But even the delegations are open to everyone. So if you want to attend as part of your US delegation, there's a couple of simple rules in that you apply, you submit an application, you explain why you think your company or your position will be valuable to helping shape the US government. And that's really all you need. And then you get appointed. You also want to say that you are actively participating, since they don't want people to be just saying they're on a delegation and not participate. So within those rules, you just participate. You If you don't have the funds to attend the specific conference at the location, there's remote participation, so that you can actively participate. And within the delegation mode, there's a chance to write. They often write white papers or other issue documents that are just for influencing others. And so you have a chance to sort of lead one. So I've led a couple of ones on broadband issues. So you can just be the contact person for this paper while you're in delegation mode. At the conference, you're not going to be the one that's speaking. It's going to be whoever government official has been appointed, but you can feed into them different issues, or if you think they missed a point, you can send them notes, or there's other ways. So even within delegation mode, there's ways to get your opinion, either if you're civil society, if you're private sector, if you're public sector, if you're academic, to get your opinions known. And so they take a very different perspective than trade issues, which are very close. But in line of those issues, they've been working also by, I think it was a civil society group who actually was pushing for transparency and openings, and in all ITU documents at the major conference at the plenipotentiary, they pushed to get the ITU to open all documents to everyone, and so that people, there was no need to be, all the documents were sealed under a special user account. But now, because of these rules, whenever there's an ITU meeting, all the documents are open until they're negotiating on final text, but all the documents are open because of this policy. And there's work to be done on trying to create the ITU and other groups to be more open and more representative. And so I think there's a lot of work that's been done already, and a lot of work to be done, and anyone is invited if you're in the US, or I know other Canada and Europe and other delegates have similar ones. And the effort is, for the ones that don't, is to try to push them to see what is the value of a multi-stakeholder coalition, and push the other countries to have an open delegation.